King Kong. Because it's from the 1930s, I was expecting to see some unsensitive things, which we do eventually see.
That did not bother me in the slightest.
Not even when you see black people dressed up as monkeys in a village. That got me a second. That was like, because I had not seen it. I don't know what I was getting into. I was praying, please no blackface, please no blackface. But it's also not a great sign that along with Snow White, King Kong is favorite movie. So I don't know how I feel.
Oh,
I'm moving on. Welcome to List. This is a show we pluck out a name of the Geeks Ensues podcast YouTube channel. Watch this, watch and review for our viewing pleasure. The movie we're scratching off the list today is the 1933 King Kong. A film crew goes to a tropical island for a location shoot where they capture a colossal ape who takes a shine to their blonde starlet and bring him back to New York City. My first King Kong was the Peter Jackson one.
that was mine too.
Kind of ashamed of that, but
Okay.
just like as movie history, it's kind of like I feel like a stupid. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's pretty weird that in a few years, this film in particular is going to be 100 years old. And it's also kind of fun to see because it kind of serves as like a time capsule. It's kind of see America in 1930. Like the speech is different. It's all like, what are you doing? Hey, like they speak a little faster. I enjoy to see like the architecture, which I know that's your thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot with a couple cars and the fashion. It's really cool to take a peek at what life was like in the 1930s. And of course, the movie's in black and white, but you can still appreciate all these different things.
There's a shot almost towards the end, and that shot just like illustrates a lot because you got like the signs, the people inside the train, how the wardrobes, everything, and it's just a snapshot of that time, and it's just I gotta say it's a bit magical.
I like how it starts right off the bat with the theme.
It just like sucks you in.
Because it's from the 1930s, I was expecting to see some unsensitive things, which we do eventually see. And they also keep harping on the fact that the boat is no place for a lady, and just the way they used to see women back in the day. I was expecting that. And if you're going to watch that, you can't go on and yell at the internet how King Kong is whatever, because it was a different time.
That did not bother me in the slightest because of that, because I know what I'm getting into.
Not even when you see black people dressed up as monkeys in a village. That got me a second. That was like, because I had not seen it. I don't know what I was getting into. I was praying, please no blackface, please no blackface, because I was the chief is gonna be a white guy with blackface. I know, but it's also not a great sign that along with Snow White, King Kong is Adolf Hitler's favorite movie. So I don't know how I feel.
Oh,
It is interesting to note that back then, this movie was banned in Germany. So they had to go out of their way to go see it, and did, and enjoyed it very much. So whatever. It's just a little nugget of history. I can't help it. I'm moving on. Fay Wray, who plays Anne's iconic scream, is pretty fantastic. Even when they're coaching her through a fake scene because she doesn't even know what she's getting into. She's like a bum off the street, and this guy just offers her a job just so she doesn't be sleeping on the street and have a warm meal. But her scream is very, very iconic, I feel like.
it actually like curled my skin. It was visceral.
Even when she was screaming at nothing in the movie, whoa, like even the characters in the movie were like, whoa, she can actually do whatever she's doing. Again, because she's a female, they were looking down on her. But I did find it funny that eventually the sailor gets with her.
Oh, see what?
And my guy's like, I guess I love you. And she's all like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, I love that passes as romance.
It's also interesting that we don't see Kong until like the 48th minute of the film. When you see him, you do feel some type of way about it real quick.
Oh, see.
Oh, okay. That's where we're at in history. That's what he's going to look like. He's not going to look like a real monkey. But visually, even with the help of the black and white, I feel like the sets were pretty cool, and how they did the backgrounds back there were really cool. You can see obviously the first shot of Kong. I think it's the first shot, either that's claymation or the close-up is the animatronic that you can totally see is Goofy.
Oh, the close-up is the animatronic. When that popped up, it was just mwah.
It's definitely something. But I will commend him how when they use stop motion, because they do combine stop motion shots with the animatronic and a bunch of other things, they do a lot of things with the stop motion where they even create a stop motion character of what he's grabbing. And even they blend some of those scenes, like when he's untying her, it's stop motion. And the way that they do that, I bought it. Like, it blends pretty nicely.
Yeah, it's not perfect. You do notice it. But it's actually, it blew my mind that the transitions, not seamless, but were very careful.
Yeah, you buy it. You buy that he's untying her. You know, it's not a distraction when it should be.
You're buying that when they're on the cliff and he like leaves her on the floor and f***s off. Yeah. And the pterodactyl comes and he's gonna grab her. Then Kong just f***s the pterodactyl up. But it's all stop motion.
Or when he's messing with the tree trunk with all the guys and he's turning the tree trunk and the guys are falling off, he's stop motion and they're like pretty fluidly responding to it. There is a little goof there where they show one guy falling off and then they cut back and the guy is still on the log. There's a lot of little things like that we'll get into more in a second. But yeah, the stop motion does look a little goofy. It's from the 1930s. Gotta give him a break. Like, sometimes the eyebrow will be a little off from shot to shot.
I mean, what'd you expect? Kubo and the two strings?
No. But even though that the animators would brush his fur constantly to try to hide their work, it still shows up in the finished film. Many other filmmakers have used the same technique and actually admire the flaw because it shows that it's being worked with skilled artists at hand.
Mm-hmm.
But not only King Kong looks fairly decent, some of the dinos that they use as well. There's a shot where the dinosaur is charging right at them and they stop and they're shooting at the guy.
Oh, they're pretty. The whole dinosaur sequence right up until the bitter end,
yeah,
was pretty dope. Because we have them fighting different dinosaurs,
yeah,
and being on different scenes, and that whole sequence is just hectic because they go from place to place, just running, looking at dinosaurs. Then Kong, and then Kong is fighting dinosaurs. Then a whole bunch of stuff happens.
Yeah, I think the best fight might be King Kong versus the T-Rex.
Yes.
King Kong does a single leg on him and then takes him down and does some ground and pound. So I thought that was really dope. But not only that, he also uses some boxing techniques. If you catch it, he puts his hand up and he's blocking his face as he's boxing, because this scene was played out behind the scenes, like very early on the stage. Like, they were playing it out to figure out how it would happen. He does eventually break his neck and jaw, and that whole thing is violent. Like, it's still visceral even with its claymation.
Yeah, he just destroys the T-Rex's face.
Like, I totally forgot that this is like a horror sci-fi film, right? Because you wouldn't consider any of the King Kongs horror, would you? Like, now?
No.
Not even Godzilla, but I think for back then, this is a horror sci-fi film because of the horrors that he's doing, I guess. Like, to us, now we're so desensitized to all this. I don't remember, I wasn't there, but I remember reading them saying that had people like walking out because they couldn't handle the violence, you know? I would be a little bit more messed up if Marion C. Cooper, the director, did what he actually wanted to do, was to take a real live gorilla and put it against a real live Komodo dragon and have them fight.
Holy sh!
I would have been more like, holy hell, what the hell are we doing here?
I mean, I would have loved to see that now that you mention it, but that would have been messed up.
Yeah, so instead we got this claymation T-Rex fight, which I think I prefer. The pterodactyl fight took 7 weeks to film.
Vete a la verga, güey.
Because it's all stop motion, and
yes,
it was like 20-hour days too. So that's a long time. So there are a bunch of different types of Kongs, right? The bust, which is the puppet or the animatronic, he's all goofy ass. There was one that was 40 feet high.
Aye.
And it had 3 men inside of him to operate his eyes and his expressions. So yeah, there were a ton of different models and different scales, and that's why there's some sort of inconsistencies with the height. Like in the jungle, he feels way taller, and then when you're over here in the city, he's only like a couple stories high, and his head is almost as big as the windows. So his height can vary from like 18 feet to like 13, I think it was.
When he's grabbing Anne, his whole arm comes through the window and is like barely fits.
Yeah, so it wouldn't make sense.
The whole scale is
really off.
Yeah, it's really off.
But when King Kong grabs her, the hand is actually attached to a crane, and the fear in her eyes in those scenes were actually real.
Oh, neta?
Yeah, because she was hoisted 10 feet in the air, and whenever she felt like she was going to fall or slip, she would give a signal to the director to cut.
Oh my God.
King Kong's roar is actually a lion in a tiger's roar played backwards.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
There's also a goof with the island natives when they're all running around, they're scrambling. At one point, one loses his wig. That's kind of funny.
What?
Yeah.
I did not catch that.
No, it's really hard to. There's also a shot where after the pterodactyl fight, where Anne and the woman hater are escaping through the vines, you can briefly see Anne wearing shoes when she's supposed to be barefoot the other time, and then the next scene she's not wearing any shoes. This is also the first movie to use a fully symphonic score. We were talking about the score at the beginning of the episode. The score is used very uniquely for this time to kind of communicate Kong's actions, and it's more reflective of what he's doing than anything else.
Yeah, it's very interesting because the score is his language.
Right.
And compare it to some movies nowadays, where it's just like, oh, you got a playlist and we just pull the playlist y la ponemos y tan tan.
Yeah, and you're already emotionally attached to that song because it's the song. You know, shout outs to Guardians, but you know what I'm saying?
Which is something deep because it's an emotional connection you form with a piece of music.
Yeah.
But it is very different that when you slap it in a movie than when it is part of the language of the movie.
Yeah, the music is very much following what he's doing. When he's fighting, it's very fast paced and heavy. When he gets down, the music completely stops. So the music is very in tune with Kong's actions.
And actually, the monkey falling from the Empire State.
Yeah,
it looked also kind of foul because not foul in a bad way. Foul in like, oh, this carcass is just gonna splat because it just smacks in the building and like, hey.
And it could be due to the music that we're talking about. It's kind of sad when he dies. Like,
yes,
you're not like, hey.
It is tragic.
Like he dies because he's in love with this white lady, you know.
And that just goes to show that
white ladies are the devil. What?
Ladies are the devil. And I mean, the actress is just beautiful.
You fell in love with Anne?
Yes, I did. I'm the monkey.
When the derailed train scene, I did feel like someone had to get hurt when they filmed that. Just the way that everybody's flying around from the shot from the inside.
Oh, nobody's wearing a harness. Money, nobody.
Everybody's falling on top of each other. I'm like, someone definitely got hurt for that shot. And I'm going to say, 100 years later, thank you for breaking whatever you broke, because that is cool. Okay? Thank you. Thank you if you got hurt.
Thank you for your pain and suffering.
But let's get into the iconic scene of Kong versus the plane on top of the Empire State Building. It's one of, if not the most iconic monster scene of all time. And it's been recreated in countless movies, been spoofed, and all, like, needless to say, it's pretty iconic, and I can see why, because of what they were able to do with it back then. But it's funny that the director, Merian C. Cooper's first vision of the film, I think he was dreaming, and he had a dream of a giant monkey on top of a giant building fighting airplanes. So that was his first vision of the movie. That's the thought that just came to him, and then he started to work backwards from that dream.
Oh, so he deconstructed the thing.
Yeah, he had to figure out a way to
make it all make sense.
Right. There's a funny thought also in the island. why would they build such a big door? You don't want him to come through. Build a door for your height where you can put the sacrifice in through and then walk up the thing. Why does the door have to be that big?
Holy shit, that makes so much sense.
Like, why are we making this giant door? Why are we making this 20-foot door for 6 feet, 4 or 5 inch guys? Don't make no sense. This movie went on to be one of the most expensive movies to ever be made back in that time. They spent 3 times as much as any other movie that had come out to that point.
Mm-hmm.
They spent $672,254, which adjusted for inflation today is roughly around 15 mil.
I mean, that's not like a huge budget now.
Not now, no.
No, not now, but I don't know, man. In the 30s with all that visual effects?
They grossed $90,000 his first opening week, which was the biggest opening at that time. Again, remember, tickets were 15 cents.
Holy. I'm actually very satisfied and happy that I watched this film.
Yeah, like this is one that if you're a movie buff, you must watch. It's history. It's history. It's a pillar in monster movies, of course, with King Kong, Gojira, and then we're getting Kong versus Gojira, which we might do the first Kong versus Gojira right here on the list. Let us know in the comments what other monster movies you would like us to do. Speaking about monster movies, did you know that the animatronic in Jaws was named Bruce? Well, we have that fact and many, many, many more over here in this video right here, along with the whole catalog of lists we're going to leave right here for you to go and watch and enjoy. Thank you for watching, and remember to always and forever, you do you.
Bye.